Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something that we haven't talked about in quite a while on the channel, and that is Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, because there has been some pretty crazy news that's gone on today and we're going to be talking all about it in today's video, so let's get right into it. And I first want to start off with a tweet that kind of started everything today, and that was a tweet from Brad Smith, the vice chairman and president of Microsoft. He tweets, "We've now signed a binding 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo's gamers. This is just part of our commitment to bring Xbox games and Activision titles like Call of Duty to more players on more platforms." And it also says, Microsoft and Nintendo have now negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox, with full feature and content parity, so that they can experience Call of Duty just as Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. We are committed to providing full long-term equal access to Call of Duty to other gaming platforms, bringing more choice to more players and more competition to the gaming market. Now, this is huge for a few reasons. The first reason being, again, it implies that we'll be getting some sort of Nintendo hardware that is capable of even running the newest Call of Duty games, which is good news. Second of all, and I think that this is the most important, or at the very least the most overlooked factor, is that this is a massive, an absolutely massive get for Nintendo, because listen, as core gamers, we know, the core gamers in this community, we know that there isn't a ton of overlap between Xbox/PlayStation gamers and Nintendo gamers. Nintendo's whole thing is that their exclusives are the selling point, as well as selling nostalgia to people my age and older. But think of a Nintendo gamer who really only has a PlayStation, maybe it's a old PS4 or an old Xbox One, just to play some Call of Duty with their friends every now and then. Well, now they can just buy it on Nintendo and play cross-platform with everyone in the world. That's actually really going to boost Nintendo's sales numbers. And look, the whole thing really between PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, it's always been that PlayStation and Xbox are competing against each other, and Nintendo's just kind of in their own realm doing whatever it is they do. And they do it really, really well, apparently, because they sell a lot of consoles and a lot of software. So this ultimately is a deal that makes the console market much more competitive. It gives Nintendo a leg up in the console market, which is insane because Nintendo's crushing it as of late. I don't know if you guys have noticed. But this deal, not this deal between Nintendo and Microsoft, but this deal in general, the ABK Microsoft deal, is beneficial for everybody, including Sony, and I'll get into that here in this next tweet that I'm going to bring up from our buddy Phil Spencer. He says, "We have signed a 10-year agreement with NVIDIA that will allow GeForce Now players to stream Xbox PC games." That's all Xbox PC game, all of them. That's Gears 6, that's Elder Scrolls 6, that's Starfield, that's whatever, all the Xbox PC games. All the games from Xbox coming to PC, that's going into GeForce Now, as well as Activision Blizzard PC titles, including Call of Duty, following this acquisition. We're committed to bringing more games to more people, however they choose to play. Now, this is the kicker. Now, when I read this tweet, I was reminded almost instantly of this little article from back in December. It says, "Report, Microsoft is willing to put Call of Duty in PS Plus." And listen, we all know that the big hang up for Sony on this deal is the fact that, they're not going to get Call of Duty, or they're afraid they're not going to get Call of Duty anymore because Microsoft's going to pull some shady thing behind the scenes and just take it away from them forever. Well, I think it's kind of time for Sony to realize that Microsoft's pretty much done playing games with this, because signing 10-year contracts to both NVIDIA and Nintendo in the same day is just massive. I can't overstate enough how massive of a shift in the industry this could possibly have. And there's really no argument that Sony has against it other than they don't want to do it, which is fine. They might not want to do it, but that's not a real argument. And if we go on over to this thread by Jez Corden, great dude, you should give him a follow if you're an Xbox fan. He says in the thread, it says, "Brad Smith literally has the document for Sony to sign to get Call of Duty for 10 years here at this meeting that they're having. He has the document there, ready and eager for dialogue with Sony. There's been no agreement yet." And listen, what I'm about to say might be talking out of my ass. I might not know exactly what I'm talking about. And if I'm wrong, then hey, I'm wrong. That's totally fine. Shit happens. But I'd have to imagine that there's no way that the current deal that Sony has with Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty is more than 10 years. In fact, we know it's up in 2 years, and I'm willing to bet you they didn't sign that 10 years ago. But there's a reason that you don't hear about 10-year contracts in business too much, and that's because business changes, the industry changes. There's not many companies that are confident enough to lock in a 10-year deal because they know that something could change down the line that affects the value of that deal, either positively or negatively. They could be losing out on millions, billions in this case, of dollars. That's not common. So if Microsoft is ready and willing to put Call of Duty not only on your console, I mean, that's a given. It's going on all the consoles if this deal goes through. But they're ready and willing to put it in your specific subscription service for the next 10 years, then that's massive. That's a massive get. Think of that. That's 10 years that your player base doesn't need to buy Call of Duty. And instead, you'll probably get more players playing Call of Duty because there's not that upfront charge, which means more players playing Call of Duty on your storefront, on your platform. That's a stupid amount of microtransactions. Sony would be making a dumb amount of money on microtransactions off of that deal. And I don't know, man, that just seems like it would be innately enticing. But then again, what do I know? I'm not a businessman. But at the end of the day, Sony obviously doesn't want this to go through. But it also seems like they are currently the only people who don't want this to go through. Literally the only people who don't want this to go through seems to be Sony right now. And that cannot be working in their favor. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you first thought when you saw these tweets when you woke up. Leave a like if you like the video. And if you're enjoying this kind of content, you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is to consider subscribing, consider ringing that notification bell, because that helps you stay up to date with everything that happens here on the channel, and it helps me get these videos out to even more people, and that's exactly what I want to be doing. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.